What's up, YouTube? I'm back at you with another video. I'm just getting my reaction to Alabama versus LSU. Alabama beat LSU 42 to 28. This game was very, very exciting. I ain't gonna lie, I was kind of nervous there. Jaden Daniels, man, is a very, very good quarterback, and he did a phenomenal job. I'm gonna just go ahead and read off the stats. Um, Alabama went into the halftime, and LSU, pretty much had the momentum. And in the third quarter, LSU, the start of the third quarter, they had a long drive and they went ahead and scored again on the Alabama defense. They went up 28 to 21. Uh, both teams were tied at 21 apiece at the half. And when LSU came back and did their drive, we were like, oh, it's going to be a long, long day for the Alabama defense. But other than that one touchdown in the third quarter, uh, LSU didn't score for the rest of the half, and Jaden Daniels did get hurt, in the matchup. Dallas Turner came and tackled him after he let the ball go. Some people say it was targeting. The funny thing about it, though, they didn't rule. The referees didn't say anything about ruling it as a target or anything like that. But Alabama still got penalized. Moving. They had to take the penalty yards, but they didn't actually show it. But it's debatable whether it was targeting. They nowadays they all call it targeting if you hit somebody like that and you drive them into the ground. But I thought it was, I don't know, it could have been called or it couldn't have been called in my opinion, called targeting in my opinion. But nevertheless, they got penalized for it. But that took him out the game. Garrett Nussmeier came in the game, but Jaden Daniels, man, finished the game with 219 yards passing, 2 touchdowns. He threw an interception. One, I think it was Dallas Turner. He tipped the ball and it landed in Terrion Arnold's hands, and that was his only interception out of the two quarterbacks. Jalen Miro didn't throw interception in this game. That's really good. Uh, and I'm gonna get to the reason why he wasn't. He didn't throw interception, but Jaden Daniels, man, had, like I said, he threw for 219 yards. He also rushed for 163 yards. That got to be a record against Alabama, man. We just struggle with running quarterbacks, man. And he's the epitome of that. And he was able to get a touchdown on that. I mean, just very, very slippery, man. That guy is very, very good. Um, LSU is blessed to have him at quarterback. So uh, Logan Diggs, he only had 24 yards rushing. Josh Williams, he had 19 yards rushing and a touchdown. Total, LSU finished the game with 206 rushing yards. So uh, this is the best offense in the college football. So I knew they was going to get some yards on us, and they definitely did. They put up a lot of yardage on Alabama. But nevertheless, the Alabama defense bended, it bent but didn't break. So shout out to the Alabama defense. Now, Malik Neighbors, he had a heck of a day as well. 171 yards receiving and a touchdown. He's the only guy that eclipsed 100 yards receiving. Karen Lacey, he had 39 yards and a touchdown. Brian Thomas, he had 36 yards and a touchdown. So he's pretty much the guy at wide receiver. It was between Malik Neighbors and Jaden Daniels, man. They accounted for a lot of the yardage that LSU was able to get. But yeah, man. One time Harold Perkins, kind of showed up. He had 6 tackles. He had 8 total tackles, with 6 of them were solo. He was able to get a sack and a tackle for loss, but that tackle for loss ended up being a horse collar, and they gave Alabama, a first down when he did that. But other than that, the defense at first, I felt like I'm gonna read the stats and see how much Alabama eclipsed offensively. Jalen Miro, he threw for 219 yards. So both quarterbacks are pretty much identical now that I'm looking at it. Like, Jaden Daniels had 15 completions. Jalen Miro had 15 completions. Jaden Daniels had 25 attempts, and then Jalen Miro had 23 attempts. And both of them ended up passing for 219 yards. That's crazy. Now I'm looking at that. Only difference that Jaden Daniels converted 2 passing touchdowns. Jalen Miro didn't get a passing touchdown. All his touchdowns were he running it in, stuff like that. He actually used his legs in this matchup, and I thought this would be a matchup where he would, definitely try to uh, get the running game involved with his legs. And Jalen Merrill definitely stepped up. And when he runs the ball like that, it makes Alabama's defense that much lethal. So, and as a matter of fact, he had 20 carries for 155 yards with 4 touchdowns. Jace McClellan had 63 yards rushing, and he had 1 touchdown. And Rodell Williams had 56 yards rushing, and he had a touchdown. So Alabama got 6 rushing touchdowns with 288 yards on the ground. So that's really, really good. Alabama, I don't think ever eclipsed that much rushing yards. So really, really good. Isaiah Bunn had 60 yards receiving. Jason McClellan had 42 yards receiving. Jam Miller had 35 yards receiving. Jalen Miro dumped the ball off to him and converted a good first down with Jam Miller. But and Kendrick Law, he had 25 yards. Like I said, the offense, they didn't really do too much passing in this game for Alabama. It's basically running the ball. But it was the Jalen Miro show. He definitely put up some rushing stats. And defensively, LSU was able to get 2 sacks against Alabama. Alabama only had 1 sack. You know, coming to this matchup, Alabama was pretty good at getting sacks, but um, they didn't really get any except for one in this matchup, and that was Justin Volpe. But once again, Caleb Downs leads the team in total tackles with 13. He had 9 of them solo. So the defense, like I said, man, but it didn't break. They made key stops when they needed to. Like I said, outside of that third quarter touchdown, LSU didn't score in the second half. That's really, really good. Alabama last week held Tennessee scoreless. And this week, even though LSU put up 21 in the first half, and then came into the second half and scored a touchdown, they didn't score no more than 28. That's really, really good. LSU had the number 1 offense in the country. They definitely gave the Alabama defense problems, but you got to take your hats off to the Alabama defense, man, for making key stops. Now, once Jaden Daniels went down, Garrett Nussmeier came in the game. He had 53 yards passing. Of course, just the rhythm was off with him in there. He did convert some first downs, made some throws, but just wasn't enough for LSU to overcome. Team stats, like I said, I'm going to read that off. Like I said, LSU had 478 total yards in this matchup. Alabama had 570 yards of total offense. This is the first time Alabama eclipsed 500 yards, if I'm not mistaken. They might have early on in the season, but in the SEC play, I don't think they ever got 570 yards of total offense. So that's really, really good. They got 219 passing and 288 on the ground. LSU had 272 through the air, and they had 206 on the ground. Really, really good team at LSU. Alabama was able to come out with the victory. LSU had the ball 26 minutes. Alabama had the ball 33 minutes. And Alabama didn't have any turnovers in this matchup, which was key, because you don't want to give a team like LSU opportunities. But Alabama pulled it out. Alabama was a 3.5 point favorite. Alabama won the game by 2 scores. So I'm happy with the victory. It's going to be interesting to see what Alabama does next. I think they play Kentucky next, if I'm not mistaken. Another great team, that Alabama can't overlook. And they play Chattanooga, I think, and then they finish off the season with Auburn. We all know how an Auburn game can go. But if Alabama continues to win out, they'll represent the SEC West, and they'll play the SEC East champion, East Division champ. And more than likely, they'll probably be Georgia. Georgia's the team right now to beat. They're undefeated right now, and definitely a good team. They still have teams they have to play. They still have to play Ole Miss. They still have to play Tennessee. Um, but if both teams went out, Alabama will be playing against Georgia. So both teams have to do their job and finish out the schedule. But what do you guys think about this game? Let me know in the comment section. And once again, if you haven't, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. And I'll definitely be back with more college football content. Thanks, guys, and roll tide.